Shalom, I am Rabbi Shaul Praver. You're watching Rabbi Rock. Today I want to talk about religious genocidal doctrines of the ancient and modern world. I'm going to come right out with it. All of the Abraham religions have a history of genocide. I'm going to start with the first, Judaism. Let's look at Joshua, the book of Joshua. It reads in the 10th chapter, the 40th verse. So Joshua conquered all the land, the mountain country, and the south, and the lowland, and the wilderness slopes, and all their kings. He left none remaining, but utterly destroyed all that brethren, as the Lord God of Israel had commanded. And it goes on and speaks about various groups of people that Joshua had utterly destroyed. In Christianity, we have statements such as, I have not come to bring peace, but I have come to bring war. I have come to bring a sword to turn the brother against the father against the son. This type of statement. And in Christianity, we have ample evidence of genocide in the Crusades, in the Inquisitions, and we don't lack for genocidal tendencies in the Christian faith either. In the Islamic faith, we have abundant examples of genocide. For example, fight those who believe not in God nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden which hath been forbidden by God and his apostle, nor acknowledge the religion of truth, even if they are the people of the book, that would be Jews and Christians, until they pay the tax with a willing submission and feel themselves subdued. All of these religions have in their sacred scriptures statements that not only encourage, but in the name of God, command genocide. The difference, though, my friends, is that for the most part, Judaism and Christianity have reformed and have acknowledged the wrong of that type of behavior. The Pope came to the Western Wall in Jerusalem and formally apologized for the Crusades and the Inquisition, where many hundreds of thousands of Jews were killed. Judaism has not practiced genocide in thousands of years. Joshua lived a very long time ago. But today, there is jihad, holy war, all over the world. And for this reason, I have invited Andrew Bostom, an MD, a doctor, medical doctor, that put together a very large book translating from authentic sources what jihad means and its doctrine. What is a dhimmi? What is a people that live in the shadow of Islam? And this is his book. It's called The Legacy of Jihad, and it's with great pleasure that we invite here to Rabbi Rock, Andy Bostom. Shalom.
Shalom. Nice to meet you.
So it's a big book, and you're a doctor, medical doctor. What gives? How did you come to compile such a book?
Well, in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, I delved into the literature that was available, particularly the lay literature on Islam, and it was just so obviously apologetic that I felt the need to do some research myself. I mean, I'm a researcher, albeit in the medical field, but that's my training. It's part of me. So I made use of the wonderful resources we have at Brown University.
You do your research in Brown?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's a very wonderful university. What kind of resources do you have there to conduct
your
research?
Vast library resources, both the libraries themselves and the electronic resources that you have access to as a faculty person.
Okay, so we were all shook up in 9/11, and we all, I think, were soul searching and maybe doing things that we ordinarily wouldn't do. It changed all of our lives, and it certainly changed yours. So what you're saying is that you didn't really see a connection to what Islam, or what people were saying Islam was, and you were having difficulty reconciling that with the events that happened on 9/11.
Yes, yes. It seemed the overall thrust of what I was hearing just struck me as a layperson as being overtly apologetic, and
Okay.
I just it made me uncomfortable.
Okay, so you wanted to learn more. Now, Ibn Warraq is he wrote the foreword in your book.
Yes.
Let's start with talking about who he is.
Ibn Warraq is an independent scholar. He is Muslim background, and he is it's a bizarre term to use in the year 2005, but he is, quote, an apostate, which means that he has become a secular person, an atheist, whatever you want to call it. But again, bizarrely enough, we think of lapsed Christians or Jews who are not observant, and it's not a great issue in the Western world. In the Islamic world, it's still punishable by death. So he writes under a pseudonym, and he's become both a friend and a mentor, and he actually encouraged me to pursue this project.
In what circles is his scholarship respected?
Yeah, it's interesting. He's a very serious scholar of the origins of Islam, the Quran, the life of Muhammad, and his work, certainly his work similar to this, which is compendia, have been accepted and reviewed quite favorably. His last scholarly book, actually his last two scholarly books, one on the Quran, and one on the whole phenomenon of apostasy, were both favorably reviewed, one by the Times Literary Supplement and another by, I think, the New York Review of Books.
Okay, and he was very excited about your work.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He and other scholars felt that it filled, quote, a yawning gap. In other words, yes, you could sort of pool together esoteric discussions of the theory of jihad, but nothing certainly available in the English language that put together both the theory and the on-the-ground practice of jihad.
Okay, now you went to the primary texts. You didn't.
Yes.
You didn't record secondary texts. You had them translated from Farsi.
No, it's a combination. It's a combination of primary sources, things that I had translated for the first time in some cases into English, other things that were just available already translated by good scholars that I pooled together, and then a host of secondary essays by people who spent their entire life studying Islam and focusing to some extent on the jihad itself, and on the condition of Muslim populations subjected and conquered by the jihad and subjected to Muslim rule.
Okay, but there are some sources in this book that have never seen the light of day in the English language.
Yeah, there are.
What
Farsi and Arabic and
Farsi and that would be the Persian language. Now, you didn't translate these works?
No, I got academics, translators who are academics to do the Arabic and Farsi translations, and even some material that was secondary source that was translated from French for some of the longer essays. All established, respected translators.
Okay, so you went out and you wanted to answer some questions, the big questions, really. So let's start there. What did you find when you investigated the subject of Islam and try to reconcile it with the events of 9/11?
Well, that the jihad is a normative functioning part of Islam, and that it derives from the sacred texts. It derives from the Muslim record of the actual behavior of Muhammad. And it was integrated into a whole sort of theology and jurisprudence through the 8th and 9th centuries, and became a permanent and uniquely Islamic institution. And essentially, it is a war of conquest to subjugate the entire world to Islamic law. And it has a whole set of rules that the jurists have laid out in some great detail. But in terms of integrating this material into what the practice was quite brutal.